Hi, I'm Erica from FiveLittleMonsters.com, and today I wanted to talk about Faux Fur Pom Poms. Crocheted hats are probably one of my favorite wearable items to crochet, and one of my favorite ways to kind of add that finishing touch and sort of more professional look, less homemade, is to add a faux fur pom-pom. And so today I want to talk about the different kinds of pom-poms and how to attach them and which ones I like best and how you can get them and all of that kind of stuff. So to start with, where do you get pom-poms? I order mine on Amazon. You can also get them on Etsy. Sometimes they're carried in stores, but I have always ordered mine on Amazon. They typically come in a pack, usually of 12 of a variety of colors. Well, you can get different kinds. You can get like 12 of the same brown color, or you can get, a 12 pack that has bright colors or a bunch of different types of neutrals like grays and tans and whites. I know there are some people that also make their own faux fur pom-poms with fur that they buy at the store, but this is what I do. So there are two different types of pom-poms that you can order. When you go to order them, you can read in the description and see which type it's going to be. So one type has an elastic loop, and that's how you're going to attach it. It just has this tiny little loop on the bottom that you will use to attach the pom-pom to your hat. The other type is a snap attachment. So you can see here it has this little snap part on the bottom of the pom-pom, and it comes with these snaps that you attach to the hat and then snap the pom-pom onto the top of the hat. So I've used both of these types, and I think they both work really well, but I want to show kind of how I use them and the best ways that I've found to attach them. So we're going to start with the elastic loop. This was actually the first kind that I ordered. For some reason, I kind of just thought it would be easier, and I don't know, I just chose that one. I actually kind of find that the snap ones are a little bit easier, but these ones do have some good purposes and reasons why you might want to use them instead. So we're going to go ahead and start with the elastic loop. And first, I'm going to show you how I very first started attaching them, and then a better method that I found that I prefer. So when I first started using the faux fur pom-poms, what I would do is I would really just pull that loop through and sew it, or sometimes if I was being lazy, even just tie it onto the center top of the hat. So I'm going to show you that first. So I've got a needle threaded with some yarn, and I'm actually going to use a crochet hook to pull that loop through. So I'm going to stick it in the center, grab the little elastic loop, and pull it through. So now you can see that loop on that side. And sometimes if I was going to use this route, I would just take my beginning thread and leave like a longer tail that then I could use to sew this on. But since I didn't do that, I'm going to just start with some new yarn. And I would honestly just kind of sew through that loop to secure it in place, and like sew around that first round just to really secure it and hold it so that it wasn't going to fall off or go anywhere. So I would secure the thread, tie it off, and everything like that. Here's the problem when you do it that way, and the reason why I've kind of gone away from that particular method. I'm going to cut this off just so that I don't have it hanging on. But you can still kind of pull it away and see that elastic, and it's just very, very floppy. So it's fine, it works, you can do it that way. And like I said, that's how I used to do it. I would either pull it through and sew it, or sometimes I would even just pull it through and like tie it in place. But it does make for a very like loose, floppy pom-pom. Also, these hats that I'm using as examples, they're just a basic double crochet child size hat. I have the pattern for it on my blog. I will put a link to it in the description for the video, but they're just a really basic double crochet hat in child size, just so that I could show and have something to use as an example. So that's kind of way number one, to attach the elastic loop. And like I said, my least favorite because it's the most floppy and least secure, and it just doesn't look as nice. So method 2. Okay, so I have another elastic loop pom-pom. And with this one, I'm going to make a removable pom-pom. This is where I think the elastic loop pom-poms really work best. So I'm going to attach it to the top of this hat, but I'm going to do it in a way that is removable, so you can actually wear it with or without the pom-pom, depending on how you want to wear it that day. So what we're going to do is you are going to need a couple extra supplies. You're going to need a sewing needle, some thread, preferably that coordinates, although it sinks in pretty well in between the stitches, so you usually can't really see it, but if it kind of matches, that's better. And then a button. I don't know if there's necessarily a specific size of button that works well. I usually pick one that's fairly large, but like under an inch, so maybe about a 3/4 inch button or something like that. So what we're going to do is thread our needle, like I said, with some coordinating thread if possible. And then I'm just going to knot it at the end. And now we're going to go to the inside of our hat, and right here in the center, we're going to attach this button. So just gonna get my thread in place and then sew this little button right to the very center of my hat. Just going up and down. I mean, depending on the kind of button that you use. This one's just a 2-hole, so I'm just gonna sew a little bar across here. Sew it back and forth a few times so that it's nice and secure. And then once I'm done, I'm just gonna kind of weave my yarn or my thread in here to kind of finish it off and secure it in place. Clip that thread, and what you'll end up with is a hat that looks totally normal. But again, I'm going to use the crochet hook to kind of help me pull the loop through, and just off to the side of that center, since the button covers the center, I'm going to go ahead and grab my loop, pull it through to the inside, and then just wrap that right around that button. And the button holds it in place, and now you've got your pom-pom on your hat. And it is, I feel like, a lot more secure. It holds it on there a lot tighter than this one that's really floppy. It stays a lot more, I don't know, tight up against the hat and more secure feeling. But if you want to take the pom-pom off, you can just flip that loop off, pull it off, and your hat's still going to look totally normal and wearable without the pom-pom. It also is nice because if you want to wash your hat, you can take the pom-pom off because they don't really wash as well. So it's great for that reason as well. Now the last type, like I said, we have the snap attachment pom-poms. So for these ones, they come with 2 parts, the snap part and then the pom-pom, which it's going to snap onto. And you can see this part has the bump that comes out. So you're going to sew this one bump side down onto the top of your hat so that this fits inside of there and snaps in place. So kind of like the button, you're going to sew this to the top of the hat, but obviously this time you're going to sew it to the outside of your hat. So I'm gonna need my needle and thread again. And you're just gonna sew through these little holes. You can either sew through like, oops. You can sew through like every other one. There's, at least on the top of mine, there's 6 holes. So you can sew like between these two, these two, these two, and it gives you just like 3 little bars to hold it in place. But I would definitely recommend sewing it across several times because you want it to be nice and secure as you're pulling that snap on and off. So just continue to sew that snap in place until, like I said, you've got it nice and securely attached. Okay, I probably would have sewn those on a little bit more, but I'm running out of thread because I just used what I had left over from sewing on the button. So this probably isn't going to be super secure, but you're going to want to knot that off underneath, and then you've got your snap ready to go. So the reason that if you want a removable pom-pom that you can wear without, like, you want to be able to take the pom-pom off, but you also want to be able to wear it without the pom-pom. I think that the elastic loop with the button is the way to go, because when you take that pom-pom off, because the button is on the inside, the outside looks totally normal. Whereas with this one, the pom-pom is removable, but you're always going to have this metal piece on top. And so it's not as functionally removable, but still good for if you want to be able to wash it. So then you're just going to take your snap and pop it in place, and you've got your pom-pom on there nice and secure. So I think that this one is super easy to do. The snap pom-pom is super easy to attach, and like I said, it's really nice and secure. It fits really nice on top of the hat. It's not floppy. It works really well. But I also feel like this button method does with the elastic loop pom-poms. So either way, you have a pom-pom that you can take off for washing. You can wear without the pom-pom, but this one works better than this one for that, because this one you're going to have your snap on the top, and the pom-pom is nice and secure and fits snug against the top of the hat, versus this one where it's really loose and floppy. Still works, and it's still an option if you don't want to have to use the button, but if you're going to use the elastic loop pom-poms, I think this method works a little bit better. So anyway, hopefully that helped answer any questions you may have about using faux fur pom-poms and how to attach them and what the different kinds are, how they work, which ones are best, and all of that. Thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any more questions about faux fur pom-poms or about crocheted hats. I will put a link in the description below to where I get the pom-poms, the hat pattern that I used, as well as a post that talks about the same things. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them there. And be sure to check out my blog for more crochet patterns and tips and tutorials and everything like that. Thanks.